urgent care with patients on the freeway, and we're trying to protect our scene, and they're putting him in handcuffs at this time and walking him away.
This firefighter was in the middle of rescuing several people after a car crash. However, when the police showed up, they dragged him away while he was helping the victims. But there are countless other examples of when firefighters get arrested instead of simply being rewarded, like when this woman was handcuffed right next to her patient, or when this firefighter was detained for simply waving at one officer. What's even worse is when this firefighter tried to save someone, he was met with 3 police officers who had nothing but rage against him.
Don't go to the car. Don't go to that car. Stay over here. Stay over here. Stay over here. Come over here. That's your car?
That's my car. I was driving by. I saw it. I'm a retired firefighter.
Okay.
I'm not a part of this.
We don't know anything about that. We see a gun in the car. You're not going there. Do you have your ID?
It's in the car.
What's your name?
Joe Garces.
On October 9th, 2020, a man by the name Joseph Garces was driving down a street in Santa Paula when he spotted a woman standing on the sidewalk talking on the phone while she was distressed. As he was curious, Garces pulled over and saw what she was looking at, which was a man lying flat on his back at a parking lot, surrounded by liquid. At first, Garces thought it was just beer and assumed that the guy had passed out drunk, but when he got closer, he saw the woman was frantically calling 911, and that's when Garces realized that the liquid wasn't just beer, it was actually blood.
I took it out of his pocket to cut his shirt off.
And that's your vehicle?
Yeah, I was driving north. I saw the lady. They were looking this way, and I saw him down, and I thought it was beer or something. Spun around and came in, saw the blood. She said they were calling 911. I screamed, has he been shot? She said, yeah, as I was pulling in.
Okay.
Saw the gunshot wound to the side of his face. I did a quick check, found the gun in his waistband, rendered it useless, stuck it inside my car, grabbed his knife, cut off his shirt, and then you guys started showing up.
Okay. Did you see any?
Garces is a former firefighter, so it's no wonder why his instincts kicked in at the right time. But what he failed to realize is that the officers asking him the questions were not interested in helping the man, but more interested in seeing Garces as a suspect. Minutes later, when another squad car pulled up, Officer Chris Rivera came out, shouting for Garces to leave the scene.
Someone relieves him, get a mask.
Not a thing.
Get this guy out of here. Sir.
He's a witness.
What the?
Relax, okay?
Hey,
We
Star.
appreciate it.
Huh?
So I got a crime scene, sir. I'm a detective.
Yeah, and I'm here helping him, so step the off. Okay? If you're a good detective, you wouldn't be yelling at me right now. You'd be taking care of your job.
Over here.
Yeah, you. I can't get the out of here.
Get out of my crime scene. Get out of my crime scene.
What are you going to do to me?
Get out of my crime scene. I'm going to make you next time. Get out of my crime scene.
Come with me, Mr. Garces. Mr. Garces.
That's my...
When Garces tried to explain, things got extremely heated, and within moments, Rivera slammed Garces into a tree, cuffed him, and tossed him in the back of a cruiser.
I got him. Come here.
No, you need to get your hands off him. Really, the pain compliance, that's what we need to do. Because you don't like me talking.
What's his name?
If you have a badge, do you have a badge?
Yes,
Are you
I do.
retired?
Yeah. Joe. Hey, check that out. I stopped to help somebody who's been shot.
Keep in mind, the man who got shot was left bleeding on the ground, while the officers shifted their focus to Joe Garces. Meanwhile, in Ohio, an officer got so furious at an EMT worker that he physically assaulted him right in the middle of a dangerous situation.
His skull busted open. He's freaking out.
On January 28, 2017, Portsmouth police rushed to a bar fight where a man was unconscious after being attacked. But before they could get there, the EMTs from the Life Medical Response were already on the scene.
Is she falling or anything?
I got
She's walking.
When the man who's injured gained his consciousness, he had a fight-or-flight reaction, and it was only getting tougher for the responders to keep him calm. Because of this, Captain John Jenkins from Life Medical asked the police to clear the area.
Get back! Get back down! You're going to go to jail. You're going to go to jail.
And Sergeant Joel Robinson was asked to use his taser on the patient, but with an extremely low voltage. However, when Sergeant Robinson decided to turn up the voltage, one of the EMTs stopped him, saying that this man has a head injury and needs to be sedated instead.
He's freaking out.
Unfortunately, Sergeant Robinson took the EMT's words as a challenge, as he grabbed the EMT by the collar and shoved him against a police car. When people started siding with the EMT, who only wanted to do his job, Sergeant Robinson doubled down and threatened to arrest them.
Leave! Am I speaking English?
I didn't even do nothing wrong.
You're going to jail!
Let's go.
Kids!
But while this kept on escalating, another EMT was forced to go through surgery after one viciously attacked her. This shocking incident happened on the 11th of July, 2022, at Strong Memorial Hospital in Rochester, over a very small issue. Lekia Smith was just doing her job as she was helping a patient out of her ambulance when her vehicle accidentally bumped into an unmarked police car. That car belonged to this investigator, Charles Lotempio of the Rochester Police, and Lotempio was not happy with the damage to his car. In fact, he was so furious that he walked up to Smith and demanded her ID, but Smith had a job to do, so she told Lotempio that she'd show him her ID once she got her patient safely inside. But that wasn't enough for Officer Lotempio, as he followed her all the way into the hospital. And while Smith was trying to care for her patient in the emergency room, Lotempio made his move. People watched in disbelief as the officer handcuffed her right there, while she begged him to let her help the patient. But things only got worse because the struggle left Smith hurt, as she ended up with damage to her shoulder that could have been permanent. But this next story is incredibly strange, as this fireman was arrested for beating on a homeless man while putting out a fire. In September 2021, firefighters were called to handle a brush fire in Dallas, and when they arrived at the scene, they encountered a homeless man named Kyle Vess, and what started as routine quickly turned into chaos when Vess got into an argument with the crew. However, one of the firefighters named Brad Cox chose to fight Vess, and from the footage we've received, Brad is clearly kicking Vess in the head multiple times and punching him as he tries to stand up. Brad later claimed that he was simply defending himself against a man who could barely even stand up. According to Brad, Vess had initially charged at the fireman with a PVC pipe while they were putting out the fire.
He was going up the service road, and he set one right here in front of the engine somewhere. So I got out to go kick it out because it was small before it got big, and that's when he got up and started charging.
But the witnesses there had different stories. Some said Vess was no real threat and accused Brad of going too far. But while Brad lost his job after he was taken in by the police, this EMT had the most bizarre case ever, as she was arrested simply because her patient spit on her.
Hey, take her phone. They got someone calling. I got photos of him already. Let me get photos of her.
In 2018, an incident in Dunwoody, Georgia made headlines after it was reported that EMT specialist Denna Williams and a 17-year-old got into a fight. Just 2 hours before it happened, both the police and the paramedics were called in for a disturbance by a 17-year-old boy, and it seemed as if the boy was badly injured.
You gonna be? Boss man, I'm gonna take you out, cuss, but be cool. You can't go nowhere. Lean back, go ahead and put your hands in front.
So when the boy was handcuffed and strapped to a stretcher, Denna Williams was trying to just do her job, and the boy decided to spit on her, causing her to react viciously.
Spit mask.
Denna repeatedly punched the boy in the face, yelling at him while he was restrained. That's when Officer Kevin Lopez rushed in and was stunned by what he saw.
So he started spitting and she was going to put a cover on his face, and she was trying to put a mask on him.
Like the oxygen mask?
Yeah.
I saw that.
Keep spitting.
Yeah.
And I guess she turned and spit in his face and she started moving on.
Okay. We need your ID.
Huh?
Is 21 busy?
I think she's on a call.
While Denna's decision was highly debatable, another incident involving a firefighter got so bad that it almost resulted in death.
Well, but the thing, what's your name? What's your name?
I'm sorry.
No, it does matter.
I'll stop talking. Whatever you want to say, bud.
Okay?
Whatever you want to say. I didn't raise nothing at you.
Yeah, you drew back from me when he asked you to get off the phone because we're trying to talk to you.
conducting an investigation on traffic.
George Madison Jr., a firefighter in Evansville, had no idea that a simple bike ride near a four-way stop would turn into an absolute nightmare. On August 13, 2013, Madison waved at officers in a passing patrol car, thinking they were friendly. But the officers, Jason Clegg and Darren Clifton, didn't see it as a wave, as they thought it was an obscene hand gesture.
Whether you raised your arm or flipped us off, whatever, that's what drew your...
However, they kept switching up their stories, as they now claimed that Madison ran a stop sign on his bike.
Like he explained to you, you're on a bicycle,
Yes,
you
you're
have
right.
to stop
Yes,
at a
sir.
stop sign. We
Yes,
had
sir.
to turn,
Yes,
okay?
sir. Yes.
While we don't have footage of this happening, it was later admitted by the officers that Officer Clegg had pulled out his taser, which is why Madison is handcuffed and laying down on the ground. Shortly after confirming Madison's identity as a firefighter's, the officers eased up, letting him finally get off the ground.
You're fine. You're fine. Next time I ask you to get off the phone, you get off the phone. You don't sit there and grab my wrist and start.
I didn't grab
Yeah,
your wrist,
you
sir.
didn't grab my wrist?
No, I didn't. I work at
Okay.
the Evansville Fire Department. I didn't grab your wrist, sir. Okay.
Here's your phone back.
Here's the thing. Like he explained to you, on a bicycle, you follow all the roads, all the traffic laws just the same as a vehicle. Okay? If you have a problem with us turning in front of you, instead of waving or throwing, flipping us off, whatever, then if you have a complaint, you file a complaint instead of drawing attention to yourself. Okay. We can make a traffic stop or conduct an investigation on you to see what the problem is, explain to you the traffic laws, and you get on the phone and we explain to you, no, you're not going to get on the phone with us while we're trying to talk to you and conduct an investigation. Okay? That's not how it works. You're not going to run just making phone calls while we're trying to do things.
On the same time, I thought I knew you guys. I knew I didn't know you. But when you look back, I thought, and I was just, because
Wouldn't it have been easier to explain that than to get on your phone?
This guy came at me so aggressive that I
But why
didn't get a
call somebody
chance.
then?
Because there's certain.
Okay?
Okay, yes, sir.
I'm trying to understand your concept of why.
Let me try to explain to you, man. I've always had, you know what I mean, and like every young black man getting, pulled over by the police and all that stuff. That stuff.
The race ain't got nothing to do with it,
Now,
man.
I understand.
We're not going to play a card, white or black, it doesn't matter.
If you give me an opportunity to explain.
Okay.
Right?
Go ahead.
Ever since guns and hoses and all that stuff, working with these guys and all that stuff, you find out that there's some guys that are some great guys. Contrary to what you've experienced when you grow up. When you came at me, you know what I mean, in a way that I thought was, to me, aggressive, which was very, very aggressive, that's when I was trying to call Billy.
As sad as this situation was, it doesn't compare to the much more shocking and disturbing incident when officers arrested a firefighter right in front of people trapped in a car that had flipped upside down.
Okay, I don't have time for a cell phone. This is ridiculous. CHP is arresting Engineer Gregoire for where he spotted the fire.
Barbara Lee and Carlo, CHP will not give us information about who this officer is or if he's been reprimanded.
On February 4th, 2014, an accident happened on the Interstate 805 in Chula Vista. A firefighter by the name Jacob Gregoire was handcuffed by a California Highway Patrol officer, all while he was trying to save lives. Gregoire and his crew were the first responders to a terrible rollover crash involving several victims. They parked their fire engine behind an ambulance to shield the emergency workers and the injured from passing traffic. It was a move meant to keep everyone safe. However, the police disagreed. As Gregoire was unloading the gear and began helping the victims, an officer approached him and demanded that the fire engine needs to be moved because, according to him, it was blocking traffic and creating a hazard. Gregoire explained that he needed to check with his captain before moving it, but the officer didn't like that answer, and in a shocking turn, the officer cuffed Gregoire right there on the scene and put him in a patrol car. And as lives were literally hanging in the balance, the firefighter sat detained for 30 minutes before he was eventually let go. This started a public outrage, and Fire Chief Dave Hanneman called the arrest reckless, warning that such actions during an emergency can seriously put lives at risk.